We live in an amazing world today. Changes are taking place right now that can help you in enormous ways beyond what you can even imagine. I mean, it's exciting. I'm like a little kid going, yes, this is cool. How many feel really great about being alive today? I mean, this time in history. Because right now, social media is giving us the ability that one person with a cell phone can literally reach millions of people and affect massive change when it's done right. And so we're seeing that happen today. We're seeing the world changing dramatically because of doing certain things right. And what I want to do in the next few minutes is show you a tool that, frankly, last year we really got into. Gina and I got into and started studying and seeing what's happening that can help you determine how you're doing in social media in a quantitative, objective way, how you're doing it. Things are changing a lot, and social media now is no longer just for kids. How many remember when it was just kids? You know, my cat is sleeping, and that kind of thing. Right, David, you were, wasn't this guy great? I love what he said about the search engine and the stuff he's doing with social also. But we see that social media is much different than it was before. It's not just for the kids. Matter of fact, it kind of reminds me, remember a little while ago, I was in St. Petersburg, Russia, and I saw a sign, vodka. It's not just for breakfast anymore. And I thought, yeah, you know what? Social media is not just for the kids anymore. Now we can do it. Matter of fact, I want you to pretend with me for a moment. Pretend that you are the director of a major motion picture. The studios are under pressure right now. They've got to produce some really outstanding films. And they've come to you as the director. You've got about $150 million budget. It's massive. And you got to perform. You've narrowed it down to 3 people for the lead character. You need to find out who's going to do this. Money's on the line. All 3 of them are well known. All 3 are really good. They've got a good body of work. There's actor A, actor B, and actor C. They've all had some outstanding results from their body of work before. They've also had some disappointments, ups and downs, but they're all kind of the same. You look at what they're doing, and now you've got to make a decision, which of these 3 do you go with for this particular picture? Well, there's a tool out right now that many people in Hollywood, many people who are in hiring positions in marketing and advertising are using. And this tool is called Clout. Clout with a K. K-L-O-U-T. It is a tool that's being used, and what they're doing is they're looking at how people are doing objectively on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being the highest. Who's there? So we're looking at your 3 actors. Here's one with a Clout score of 20, one with, maybe 45, another one with 70. The one with 70 has more influence, and that's important. See, it's not so much what you think, it's how the world sees you. What you're talking about, I mean, it's brilliant. How the world is going to see you, and Clout is an objective way for you to see that. And this matters to brands also, because see, brands are now using this, because think about it. Rather than using the old spray and pray method of using radio, TV, and newspaper, buying all of the market, and then hoping and praying that maybe somebody will buy, they're saying, no. Let's find the key influencers in a particular field and target them. What we're doing now is not the push form of marketing, it's more the pull. I got a chance to see that when I was working with AT&T. AT&T had me come on as their editor-in-chief for their big industry award-winning blog. We had about 100 geniuses reporting to me on cloud computing, security, mobility, social, and we were able to see some major changes because of what we did in the blog. Not the old way of pushing out and selling, saying, hi, we're wonderful, buy from us, but instead being able to share ideas, share concepts. That's what social media is about. That's what affects your Clout score. When we were at AT&T, I was just amazed when we were at one of the meetings there, Vice President of AT&T and the marketing standing up saying because of the blog and what we were doing there, we were showing sales of $800 million, 900, one that blew me away, 1.3 billion with a B sales pointed directly to what we were doing with social media and with the blog. I don't know about you, but where I grew up out in the country, we called that serious money. And having that kind of sale and that kind of impact is powerful. And that's where Clout comes in. As an example, Chevy said they wanted to reach people who were highly influential in the environment and in cars. And so they said, hey, tell us who these people are. They went to Clout. Clout said, okay, here are the people here. And Chevy said, thank you very much. What we're going to do is we're going to give those people who are highly influential the use of a Chevy Volt for a long weekend. Here you go. Here's the keys. And if you want to say something, fine. You're not required to. You're not required to say anything. If you want to say something negative, that's your choice. You know, whatever you want. And people who were following these people through social media, on Twitter, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and other areas, they said, hey, so-and-so said it's good. See, if I say, hi, I'm wonderful, buy my stuff, that's one thing. But if instead, Kevin says, hey, Terry's a great guy, and you respect him, you read what he says, and he says that Terry's a great guy, it has a lot more credibility, and that's what they did. American Airlines did the same thing. They said, hey, anyone that has a Clout score of 55 or higher can come and stay in our prestigious Admirals Club for free for a day. Come on, you don't even have to fly American Airlines. Just want you to come on in. And when, by the way, we will check out your Clout score. Because if you have an account with Twitter, by default, you have a Clout score. You go over to Clout.com, K-L-O-U-T, look at it, and you can see what's there. Now, there's a lot of other things you can do to enhance your Clout score, but people are making decisions on this. Throughout history, we've heard that it's what is important is what important people say is important. And so when people who make decisions and are hiring are saying, what's their Clout score? It becomes the tiebreaker. It becomes a factor that people are looking at. You want to look into it. We're seeing many companies now embracing this, but also we're finding out some other interesting things. One of our members of our Mastermind Alliance, J.B. Glossinger, I think you know him, John. J.B. Glossinger is there. He has the #1 podcast in the world in personal development, Morning Coach. Morning Coach, and he's there. He's got a lot of people following him. Well, he and his wife live in Fort Lauderdale and in Bogota, Colombia. She's from Colombia. They go back and forth, a lot of business in both places. Once, just a while back, they were down in Colombia. They had to stay a little bit longer, as trips go. You know, they had to change their flight. And instead of leaving on this day, they had to stay a few extra days. Called the airline. And he said, I've got to change my flight, etc. The airline said, okay, we can do that. That'll be $800. Again, there's some serious money, at least, you know, where I grew up. $800. And he thought, wait a minute, that seems right. But then he remembered a conversation he had with Gina and me. We were talking about Clout and the importance of this. And he said, here's who I am, and here's my Clout score. Don't take my word for it. You go look it up, and let me know what you can do. Within the hour, the airline called him back and said, Mr. Glossinger, we're so glad you're flying with us today. For you, we have waived that $800 fee, and we're moving you and your wife to the front of the plane. Think about it. Is that smart on behalf of the airline? Here's someone that has a high Clout score. Objectively, lots of people are following them. People are paying attention to what he has to say. And if he says, I don't like this airline, is that a good thing or bad? How many of you have heard of the video, United Breaks Guitars? Yeah, those of you that haven't seen it, write that down and look it up. One of the hottest videos out there on YouTube where they got slammed around by, literally, by United Airlines. Their guitars, United broke their guitars. And in the past, we would just say, oh, I guess I'll try to call them, or maybe I'll tell my friends. Well, didn't work. And so they said, we're going to use that social media thing. We're going to use YouTube. And they wrote a funny, wonderful song that has scored over 14 million views on United Breaks Guitars. It's hilarious. If you haven't seen it, go watch that on YouTube. And if you have seen it, go back and watch it again. And by the way, in the real world, United's stock price went way down because of that. This is real world stuff. Clout matters. And today what we're seeing is the world is changing dramatically. Because of the kind of things that we're seeing happen, we're seeing that the world is changing. And so that gives you an opportunity that now you as an individual can compete effectively with major brands. Think about it. I love what I'm doing. I take my little iPad here, take my little MacBook Pro, and I've got text. I can create text and write it very easily that can compete with or work with major media. The last couple of weeks, I was asked to be a journalist and a regular columnist now with business journals. We've got 43 papers around the United States, 40 million page views per month. And so now we've got that ability to get out there just from the little laptop computer. Think about radio. Think about what we can do now with all kinds of things with audio, podcasting. The power is yours as never before. The kind of brilliance that can come out, the kind of brilliance that you can come up with based on your type, based on your anthem. I love that term, the anthem of what you can do. Use that. Clout is a way you can do it. Now, there's some specifics that you can use as well. Some specific steps doing this, this, and this. We've done this for many people. And matter of fact, wrote our book on Clout. Clout Matters. For me, it was kind of fun. I'd always been trained that the way you're supposed to do it is if you're going to write a book, you write the book, then you take it to 40,000 different publishers, all of whom say no, except one finally will say yes. For us, Gina was doing the work with social media. She learned, contacted one of the people and said, hey, you need a book on clout. And they said, you know, we've been thinking about that. Why don't you send us something? So I thought, well, cool, we can do that. I'm a journalist, so I can sit down. We did it. We sent it to them, and they said, sure, we'll do that. We'll give you money. So McGraw-Hill published the book on Clout Matters. And it gave us, yes. And it gave us the ability for me, for this jaded journalist myself, to get in there and to look at what's going on. And really, I just dropped my jaw going, wow, here is a way for you, the average person, to really determine, how am I doing? How am I doing? You look at your Clout score, look at what you're doing. Clout will even say, here are your moments. Gina will talk a little bit about that. The moments that say, this particular, you know that post you did last Tuesday? That one got a lot of attention, and you didn't know it was going to. And here's how you can see it. Oh, that one you thought was really going to be good? Didn't do well at all. And we see it. It's objective, real objective feedback that helps you. And that's what you get a chance to see. And to learn some of those specifics, I'm going to ask Gina Carr to come up, my co-author and partner, to take it from here.